I've heard good things about Freaky, the body-swapping film where serial killer Vince Vaughn switches bodies with a teenage girl played by Katherine Newton, and I felt it was high time I finally sat down and watched it. As with Happy Death Day, which took the Groundhog Day concept and put it through a genre lens, Freaky puts a horror spin on Freaky Friday. Can't wait for that horror version of The Cat from Outer Space. Ah, shit. There I go giving Blumhouse ideas for free again. More on Freaky after this. Welcome back to ML Miller Frights, a part of the Kings of Horror Network. I'm ML Miller. While you might be watching this video on the Kings of Horror Network, I urge you to click over to my ML Miller Frights YouTube page and give it a like. Please share with all of your buddies. Click subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to ring that bell for notifications. Freaky is new on Blu-ray, on-demand, and digital download from Universal Pictures Home Entertainment. It's directed by Christopher Landon and written by Landon and Michael Kennedy. Awkward teenager Millie, played by Katherine Newton, has typical high school problems. The mean girls are mean to her. She wants to leave town to go to college, but feels responsible to take care of her alcoholic mother. And the boy she, totally likes doesn't even know she exists, though they sit next to each other in woodshop class. Just when things can't get any worse, the local serial killer, played by Vince Vaughn, steals an ancient dagger, which was conveniently left out at the site of his last murder spree, and stabs Millie with it. When the killer is stopped mid-kill and escapes before the cops nab him, Millie and the killer wake the next day and find that they have switched bodies. If Millie and the killer don't get back together and re-stab each other within 24 hours, their bodies will be swapped, forever. I honestly can't believe this film was made by the same guy who directed the highly enjoyable Happy Death Day and wrote the bulk of the Paranormal Activity series. While those films had either a good sense of humor, pacing, suspense, tension, and overall entertainment, Freaky possesses none of those qualities. As usual, before I really tear into a film, I like to note the good, as little as there is with Freaky. The opening sequence of Freaky is promising. After a group of kids around a bonfire talk about the local legend of a serial killer who massacred a bunch of people in the 90s and has since then returned every year during homecoming to murder more kids who like the sex, the drugs, and the partying too much. Sure enough, as soon as the kids begin pairing off, the butcher does arrive, murdering everyone by some pretty gruesome means. Wearing some kind of tribal mask, the killer rams through doors and violently puts an end to the 4 kids. The kills are gory, pretty unique, and well choreographed. If only the momentum of the beginning had carried over to the rest of the movie. While there's one more gory scene involving a power saw in the aforementioned woodshop, the film really loses steam as soon as Vince Vaughn takes off his mask 7 minutes into the movie. No longer do we get a faceless killer. Instead, we get a puffy, balding wedding crasher. And while Vince Vaughn brought us all to brawl in Cell Block 99 and dragged across concrete, this is the phoning it in Vince we saw in the aughts, who churned out one lame comedy after another. I sure hope Vaughn was well paid, because he really is given nothing to work with in this film. Every body swap comedic bit we've all seen, from All of Me to Vice Versa, from 18 Again to Like Father Like Son, from Jumanji to The Hot Chick, is used, and it's as stale and lame as it was there. I'm not saying this concept can't be done right, given the right amount of creativity and smarts behind the script, but it feels like nary a brain cell was flexed while making this film. Freaky is a film built on coincidences, happenstance, and cartoonish cliches. I understand that there's a whole generation who wasn't hit over the head with body swap films of the 80s and 90s, and this might be their first time with the concept. Most of the time, these films are intended as moral lessons where 2 people who couldn't be more different than one another swap places and both learn a little something about the other. The older person remembers what it's like to be young, while the younger learns that with age comes wisdom. The chauvinist learns what it's like to be a lady, and the ultra-feminist learns to be a little softer towards the opposite sex. The rich appreciates the simple life, while the poor learns that mo money often means mo problems. How about one more? The black guy learns that being a white person isn't as privileged as it seems, while the white man learns that there is bigotry still in the world. It's all about empathy, sharing experiences in hopes to understand our fellow man and woman. The big problem is that we don't live in an age of empathy anymore. This isn't a film where Millie learns some valuable lesson and the butcher gets some feelings back. Millie and the butcher retain nothing from the time they spent in each other's shoes. While we get to know a bit about Millie's superficial problems, we're supposed to believe this slim, blonde gal with a good complexion is an outcast in the school because she wears cheap clothes and messes her hair up a bit. What is this, the 80s? Kids wear vintage clothes all the time. The scene where the mean gal meets Millie at her locker to rag on what she's wearing is so old it's afraid of fire and majored in cave painting in caveman school. But the real problem is that we're told next to nothing about Vince Vaughn's character. He doesn't even have a fucking name. There's no motivation for the killer to do what he does. He shows up a killer, and by the end of the film, he's nothing but the same non-emotional robot he was at the beginning. Little to no effort was done to flesh out this character, why he does what he does, where he comes from, where he goes, what he does on a Tuesday afternoon when he's not killing, why he takes the knife in the first place. Nothing. When the butcher is in the butcher's body, he's usually wearing a mask and killing without even speaking to his victims. When the butcher is in Millie's body, sure, she uses the young gal's sexuality as a means to lure her victims in, but still Kathryn Newton plays the role like the T-1000, a simple, motivated killing machine. In her leather jacket, she even looks like Christina Loken. You've got Vaughn, who does have charisma when he tries, Terminatoring it around the film, and then Millie doing the same thing. Meanwhile, this film goes out of its way to prove how woke it is, and ends up even messing that up. There's Millie's black friend and gay friend, played by, who gives a fuck, they're just cardboard cutouts of cliches anyway. The gay one is really gay and takes joy in trying to get straight guys to make out with him. The black gal is the word police, correcting the gay guy when he gets too graphic with his sexual innuendo, and yelling at folks to properly identify Millie and the butcher by the proper gender pronouns. This is a film about a race against time where their best friend's life is at stake, as well as countless others in the path of the killer. But holy shit, let's stop everything so that we can get the pronouns correct. There's a time and a place for correcting someone's language. In the middle of a crisis like this is not it. For all of the surface wokeness, there's all kinds of offset gender politics going on here. Millie, inside the butcher's body, marvels at how powerful and strong she is, while the butcher, inside of Millie's small frame, is tossed around like a football by her intended victims. How is that an empowerment story again? There's a scene later where Millie, inside the butcher's body, professes her love to the hunky boy in woodshop class, and an awkwardly unfunny moment occurs where Millie, inside the butcher's body, kisses the teenage boy. In this modern woke time, I guess it's okay to kiss underage kids if you have the mind of a child inside of you. It's played for laughs here, as is the moment when the butcher inside of Millie's body feels herself up as the first act she does while inside of her body. Woodshop boy tries to say he's attracted to Millie's soul because of her personality inside of the butcher's body, but then the both of them acknowledge how awkward and wrong it is to kiss each other after doing it. I can't even begin to think about what this is trying to say about gender and age, and it's giving me pea shivers just thinking about it, so I guess I'll just move on. While Blumhouse has been known for top-tier terror, lately it's been shelling out the worst teeny bopper horror imaginable. It's not scary. It's not smart. It isn't a fresh take on anything. Freaky is a brainless, lazy, and tepid acted, written, and directed film. Freaky is a film where the evidence locker in a police station is right there as you walk in and easily accessible to anyone who enters. It's a film where only one cop works at said police station. It's a film where no one walks through the halls of the school in the middle of the day except for the stars. It's a film where the clothes store worker can suddenly start a deep and resonant conversation about her dead husband and overburdened daughter with a complete stranger while they're in the changing room that she's never met or seen before. It's a film where there's a powerful Sub-Zero cryo freezer in the boys' locker room. It's a film where a cop fires a gun in the air inside a party to get the attention of underage teenagers. It's a film where all a girl has to do is put on a leather coat and pull her hair back into a ponytail to go from a naughty to a hottie. It's a film that made me feel embarrassed for all involved. It's a film I've spent way too much time talking about, so I'll just wrap it up by saying it sucks and leave it at that. Oh well, at least I still have Face Off. Oh shit. That's getting remade too? Fuck my life. That'll be it for today. Please chime in down below in the comments and let me know how on the nose or mind-numbingly wrong I am, or you can counter with your own review. So guys, you know how YouTube works. I'd love to be able to dedicate more time to this channel. I'm not monetized yet, so if you want to help me out, remember to hit all the pertinent bells and whistles down below. Want some spooky comics to read? I have 2 new horror comic book trade paperbacks you should look out for. Both Grave Trancers and Pirouette, collecting never-before-published issues, can be found in only the finest of comic book shops. If you're looking for written reviews, you can find them on my website, mlmillerwrites.com. If you really want to show your support, I also have a Patreon page at mlmiller. Look for the link to my Patreon page down below. Thank you so much for your time, and take care.
You're doomed to live the life you're meant to be, stuck inside your